Hi, welcome to Kit to Craft. If you're here today, you've purchased one of our kits and we're going to show you how to make it. So today we're going to do chunky pumpkins and we're going to start by opening our kit. All right. You should have 3 different sets of yarn, 3 colors, and then with that are the corresponding, we're going to call them donuts, hair donuts or hair bun makers, to go with them. There's lots of ways to make pumpkins in the fall. This is just the one that we're going to be doing today. You should also have a little bag with different size leaves, enough to have 2 leaves on each pumpkin, and then a stem stick for each. You are also going to need your own glue gun and glue stick and a pair of scissors. I always like to have a paper plate or something like this to put the glue gun on if it falls over, and it's going to protect your surface as well. We're just going to do the medium one. So I'm going to set my other supplies over here, and we'll start by unwrapping your yarn. Now I am going to say that the yarn that we've chosen for this project, and we do this with a lot of our yarn, to keep it from unraveling on the end, we just tie a little knot on here. You're not going to need that knot at the beginning. This is just for until you're ready to start doing the project. So I'm going to clip off the knot and just kind of give myself some extra. All right, so the first step you're going to do is push the yarn through. And you're going to either need to, you can see it's already kind of coming apart. That's all right. You're going to either need to glue it to the bottom or to the inside. I just like to do it on the bottom because I can see how I'm gluing. And when it's in the center, you're going to have some glue in the center when you put the other things on it. So I'm just going to do that. And this is strictly just to secure the end as you're getting started. It's not going to have to be really glued down heavily, I guess is what I'm going to say. Now, I am going to unwrap all of my yarn because I'm going to need my other end. Again, I'm going to leave this one on, this knot. You're going to basically be pushing it through, pulling all of your excess through. And I like to make mistakes as we're doing this. I don't do it on purpose, but we all make mistakes as we go through. I did not get that little piece glued down, so it's always fixable. So I'm just going to tap that there. Okay, now I'm going to go back, find that end of my string, and continue to pull it through. At the beginning, when you're doing this, it's a lot of yarn to work with, but we have just found this is the easiest way to do it, to keep it all going through evenly. All right, you're not going to want to pull too tightly as you're wrapping it through and around. That's pretty important. Not because you don't have enough yarn, but because it actually leaves too big of an opening in the center of your pumpkin. And then your leaves and your stick, they won't stick as well. It also makes it look like your pumpkin is hollow in the center.
So don't pull it too tightly.
No, what I do, and I'm going to pull this through. I'm kind of trying to keep track of this end also. I tend to put it through a couple of my fingers. You're going to see here that they're not together right away. You're going to want to make sure those stay bunched together. Pull until you catch some resistance, but don't pull it super tight. If you do realize as you're going along, I did this too much, you can take the yarn out and redo it. there's no problem with that. Again, a lot of things in crafts are fixable. That's what makes them unique. And we're just going to continue this all the way around. There I have it separate. I'm just going to kind of pull that over.
What
bunch it
happens
together.
if you don't pull it tight enough and it's too
You
loose?
are going to be more likely to see through the yarn, and it's not going to be perfectly together as you start. As you're working through, you're going to want to kind of work the yarn a little, making sure each row is up against the other. Okay, so here we are, we're about halfway done, and you can see how in the center I didn't pull tightly, so it's left the center looking like the top of the pumpkin. Can't see through. Really doesn't matter which is the top and which is the bottom at this point. I'm also kind of moving the rows over, kind of bunching them up as I go along.
Are you adding any glue as you go along?
No, I'm not. This is, if you're following around the edge and not going back and forth and all over, you should be able to bunch those up and shouldn't need to glue them. I suppose if you got to the end and you finished your pumpkin and decided, uh-oh, I see a blank spot, you could always put a little touch of glue and pinch those two yarn strands together, but I haven't had to do that at this point. I do see a couple little strands that are a little looser over here. I may or may not glue those down at the end. Sometimes it adds character.
See the top.
Yep. So I'm going to pull that till I just get the little bit of tension. And again, try and keeping that end. I would say getting started is the hardest part because you have all this yarn you're dealing with. That's going to be the toughest in the white one. I would almost recommend starting with the green pumpkin because it's less to handle. You'll be a little better at handling the yarn by the time you get to the white one. I'm going to open up my bag here. A couple of my stems are almost the same size, but I'm going to use the middle. This one's closer to the middle. And my leaves, I'll lay these all out for you to see. So we have two small, couple medium, couple large. No, these are not pumpkin leaves. If you have other leaves at home, again, feel free to individualize, but they're going to look just as cute with these leaves as they would with something else. You can mix and match. You don't have to use large, medium, small on those corresponding ones. You could say on your largest pumpkins, you're going to do maybe a small and a large, a small and a medium. It does not matter. For this pumpkin, I think I'm going to use these two because I'm going to use that on one of my other pumpkins over here. I just think that the leaf color matches. So I'm going to start with my stem, and just like we did when we finished the yarn, I'm going to just try to pull that apart. I'll let you get in there. I'm going to drop a little bit of glue, and then I'm going to take the stick and push it down in to where I want it. I wouldn't recommend pushing it all the way down. Get it about far down as you want it and then stop. And now you can see it's cooled and it's secure. Now I'm going to take my leaves. Yeah, I think I'll use that one there. And this I'm going to put on the end of the leaf, just because we're getting a lot of stuff down in here. So I pushed that down in, and I'm going to hold it. And it should be secure. I'm going to take this one, do the same thing, a little glue around the end. And I'm going to put that down in here. And there we go. There's a little addendum because we want to show what happens if this happens with you at home. We were putting one of our kits together, and the yarn kind of got separated and it got all bunched up, and if you look down here you can see that it's kind of separated there. That is one reason that we do put the knot in it, so if something like this happens, your ends at least will be together. So what I would do to fix this is I am gently pulling down, I'm holding the knot, I'm gently pulling down on this yarn. It's not necessarily going to be perfect. You can see that as I'm going along, I'm kind of finding the looser strands and tugging on them just a little bit. If you've handled yarn for crafts, you probably are familiar with how yarn can be a little challenging. Now, I ended up here, it's not quite even. So, what you can do is, now that you've straightened it out as much as possible, I'm gonna kind of start twisting. Let's see which way my twist goes. Yeah, I'm gonna start twisting it this way. You can see I'm adding that twist back in. There's a little bit of looseness right in there. Now I'm actually pulling that back towards the end where I started and just kind of stretching it. And you can see it's pretty stretched out. As you go along, being careful to try to keep this twisting, to keep that together as much as possible. So, again, I like mistakes, because especially when we find them, because it's more information that we can pass on to you, the customer. And then if you have something like that happen, you know how to.
Is it okay at this point, since there's just a little bit to go,
Mhm.
maybe cutting the length of the yarn down?
Absolutely. You like yours a little tighter than I do, but yours weren't tight enough to leave that open and see-through, which is the goal. We don't want it to be see-through. But you made yours a little tighter and it gives it a smoother look. So yeah, you are gonna have a lot of yarn left over, and that's okay. You can always put another layer or extra yarn around it in spots, but yeah. Don't worry if you don't use all the yarn. We just wanna make sure you have enough to do it.